Hello, hello, hello. We are back. I'm hoping this time we don't run into any issues again with broadcasting. Now, today's stream was supposed to be meant for Sunday. And Wednesday. And Wednesday, we were supposed to play Pathways, the British anti-extremism game. That didn't work. They took it down that day. But now it's back up online. And we are going to play it tonight. What a time to be alive, to be late to the party. Time to just steal and get ready to make some cheap content, eh? But yeah, finally can play Pathways. This shitty, no good, terrible anti-extremism game. Because this game in particular is beyond retarded in every sense of the word. It is beyond retarded. How could you make a game about extremism and terrorism, but you're going to use it to target people who are native to your nation, who aren't actually committing terrorist acts, who are not causing violence, who are not doing anything of the sort, who want their country back, who want their taxpayers, their tax dollars to themselves, if not paying less in taxes. They want freedom, they want rights. And you mark them as terrorists. Meanwhile, actual terrorists, actual rapists, actual traffickers, actual criminals come by the boatload. But remember, the only reason why they're like this is because the race and the religion is in accordance to what the world order wants. And for the longest time, if you spoke about it, you were racist, you were Islamophobic, you were this, you were that, and you were, on top of it, anti-Semitic for some reason. Don't look in too far into that. But we are going to play Pathways, because, in particular, I'm going to get my chuddy wife, my art-ho chuddy wife that I so rightly deserve, to save the white race. White boys can get a little bit of motion, and the UK government is paying for me to do this. Welcome to Pathways, an interactive game where you determine your journey. In this game, you'll have to choose between certain options that lead to different outcomes. Let's see where the path takes you.
In this game, you will be presented with scenarios that require you to take action, like hearing something hateful while gaming, or watching a provocative video on social media.
So before we begin, the woman who they had to do the voice lines for this is the most condescending Scottish accent I've ever heard in my life. It's the most condescending, hen-pecking, nay, little finger-wagging woman voice I've ever heard in my life. It is so obnoxious. It is the worst of the worst. And it's going to drive you off the wall, too.
From the 3 alternative options presented, you will use your mouse to select one based on the information given and what outcome you think this will have. The choices you make will determine the route your character takes. Remember to be aware of getting trapped in risky or harmful situations, as the different choices can lead to situations involving extremism and radicalization, damaging the outcome for your character.
See, it's funny. In high school, or elementary school, when I was growing up, it was off the heels of the anti-Bush administration. Even in Leafland, there was a incentive to really push and flanderize U.S. politics in our public school system. But it was also to critique and be like, oh, critical thinking, make sure you think critically. There's only one right option. But thankfully, in high school, I didn't really need it. In our English classes, in our sociological classes, our social classes too, and political studies classes, we were actually able to have male teachers that actually encouraged us to question every single thing, make arguments, counteract points. No one-way answer, and anyone who tried to scree about you being wrong was forced to leave the classroom. Unfortunately, those teachers would have to change their curriculum as the school wanted everyone to fall in lockstep. But I was able to get my education through that, even though I didn't need it because I was way, way too critical of everything around me at that point. We're going the male route. White boy's getting a little bit of motion.
Charlie was enjoying an online game with friends.
The fuck is this? I know it's a global homo art style, the slop art. All games. Hull. The fuck is Hull? Is this like their version of what's this? Stampy Longnose? This is
Charlie
Minecraft,
was
right?
enjoying Charlie had not long started attending a new college in East Riding, and they were so relieved to have made new friends, having recently.
And they're doing the fucking gender neutral pronouns, so you didn't have to reuse voice lines to do the male and female option. Also because it's the UK and they're fucking fags about it. More importantly, though, this is just how it is. This is just the schlock you see about it. It's so pandering.
Charlie has started browsing. Sometimes, though, the people on these websites say things that seem off.
You're scared of a little bit of heat in the kitchen? Now get out. If you can't handle the toxicity, get out of the gas chamber. It's simple as.
Someone on this website has encouraged Charlie to download a video.
Never fucking do that. No. If someone sends you a video, never fucking download it. Never fucking download it. Hey, check out this video. Just download it. Yeah, you want to get a fucking virus on your computer? This is the problem. So many Zoomers and like Gen Alpha are very tech illiterate. And it's hyper concerned that even basic common sense is just thrown out the fucking wayside, even nowadays. Hell, my boomer parents finally, I'm like, okay, they're holding out, and then they start falling for, coming up to me and saying, I need you to just tell me something right now. Is this a real event going on that I think we'd be interested in seeing? And it was fucking trains racing on a dirt racetrack. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Like, I actually, lit in my parents a bit. I'm like, guys, you're bugging me over this shit. You have common sense. You know how physics work. You know you're smarter than the average layman. Why the hell don't you understand this is fake?
How should Charlie react?
It's getting more and more concerning as time has gone on. How should Charlie react? Tell a trusted adult. Talk? I wouldn't download it off the hop.
Charlie questioned the stranger, asking what the video was about. Charlie felt uneasy when the stranger explained that if Charlie cared about the country, they would download
Very
the
auspicious to
and
do
share
that.
it with as many people as possible.
No.
Charlie wasn't sure what to say. Luckily, Charlie trusted their instinct and didn't download. It's important to remember that downloading.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Charlie is receiving an important grade on a piece of work they submitted for their hospitality course at college.
Right. Oh, God.
Charlie put in a lot of effort for this work and is excited to receive good feedback.
Good to hear. And he's motivated. He's actually doing the work. He's actually getting everything done. If he's followed the criterion to a T, rewrote, had drafts, submitted everything, he's showing he's actually able to do his work and concept and put it forth.
Charlie takes a seat in. To their disappointment, Charlie doesn't do as well as they expect. They got 60 out of 100 for their work, but they wanted at least 75 out of 100.
Now, I'm going to say this. The problem is he's in this hospitality field. And I'm assuming the program they're writing is very Flanderized. It's a market. It's like a pseudo marketing essay they're probably doing, or project. That is very subjective based on your teacher. You may have a teacher who may absolutely love your work, or if they don't particularly find interest in what you're trying to sell, I mean, it's just like as a general whole, not even regarding the objective thing of can you sell this, follows follow the criterion, they will dock your grades. I've had teachers that were like this. And ones that objectively look at everything and say, okay, you follow the criterion, but the other one's like, well, you see, I'm not interested in auto parts, or I'm not interested in this airline in particular. It's like, bitch, I'm following criterion. This is not about you. We're going to the fucking Barbados on the weekend. I'm talking about you're a general person. I'm trying to sell you this product. Just because you like to fly first class doesn't mean I'm trying to sell it. Someone trying to sell flying first class. I've already set my market ahead of time. You do have some very subjective, really kind of idiotic teachers sometimes. And it's like, yeah, I know it sounds like a lark to say, but I mean, even as like a fourth grader, we were made to do like cereal boxes. It was a weird thing for a health class, but like make a cereal box, promote it, and then do it. And, well, the thing with that was, where that ended up being, is that I, at the time, was a World War II autist, so I made, dogfighting or aircraft, and my teacher's like, I want to watch something with planes on it. I'm like, it's not about you, you dumb broad. You said, let us do a passion project of whatever we want. You have fuckers doing Harry Potter, you have kids doing fucking basketball and everything. Oh, you're okay with all that, but no. I like airplanes, that's a problem. Fuck off.
To make matters worse, somebody else got 80 out of 100, and the teacher said that this person has received a job offer.
Yeah, especially considering this is UK colleges, and we know for a fact they absolutely are, and teachers are incentivized to absolutely give higher grades to non-white students. And non-male students too, especially white and male. You're fucked. Yeah, no, I would look at this with questionability. I also want to look at the work that she did. That's the thing.
Charlie has applied to dozens of jobs, but hasn't had any luck yet.
Yeah. If you remember, if he's applying online, that's a problem too. It's terrible to apply in person as well, but you have more of a shoestring if you basically force them to look in the eye. If you are just applying online on and being honest and on Indeed, or just don't fucking do it, but like any other like job application site, don't be honest. Do the most neutral road, non-offensive answers, and put yourself as a minority. Then submit your resume. And then if they invite you for an interview, then they'll be like, well, aren't you that different person? Nope. You already got me here. You're going to talk to me. Then you force them to look at you in the eye.
Somebody else in the class tells Charlie that this is proof that immigrants are coming to the UK and taking our jobs. Yeah,
in particular, if that all these are, outside of these two here, if these are all UK students, none of them are getting jobs, but only the invaders are, not even immigrants, migrants. Not even migrants. I use the fucking word migrant. If they're non-legal, they're invaders. So they're an invader or you're an immigrant. Invader or immigrant. Invader or immigrant. And I think the native-born should be taking preface over. The native-born should be priority over immigrants in general. Simple as. Then you have a bunch of people who are basically born and went through and trod through a system that was much harder. Then I know everyone's like, well, the immigrants work so much harder than you. No. The colleges a lot of them came from, especially if you're dealing with Indians, are basically, they're sold a diploma. They're not taught anything. Purposely, they're cheat their way through, and they don't have any grasp on any form of, safety or protocol or anything of the sort that we're drilled on. And they have to pay maybe like a quarter of what we pay. And they do haphazard, shitty-ass work. And then they infest hiring departments, and then they fire everyone who's non-Indian and want to hire their own, and then they'll do their own caste system in the fucking nation. Ask me how I know this. I agree with her.
Charlie approached the classmate angrily. He agreed with the ideas and began shouting about them in class.
What the fuck are you doing, you autist? No, you talk to her. You talk to her. This is what I fucking hate about this whole thing, is that, yeah, you're given 3 options. I know it's slop. It's slop of the government to fucking make fun of you, right? It's, to really, henpeck you, and no, don't you even think wrong. But you would just talk and confide and quiet to this girl, to our right-wing Ramona Flowers here. You would confide with her. You would not start spurging out in class.
The teacher let Charlie know that the school
and fucking hate speech bullshit. Okay? The only hate speech there is calling for actual violence. And I mean, like, I'm going to, we need to kill this kid right now. This kid needs to fucking get killed. This person's white, we need to fucking kill him. This person's gay, and we need to kill him. That's fucking hate speech. Saying that you're going to actually commit actual violence, but just saying the word, like, said before on stream, the bundle of sticks, or using racial slurs, I don't give a shit. That's not hate speech. Talking about what's obviously in front of us, this isn't even fucking violence. This is calling out the injustice of what's in front of us. We're not even calling for violence, we're pointing this out. That is not fucking hate speech at all. Hate speech does not fucking exist. Simple as.
The teacher was concerned by Charlie's outburst and tried to get to the bottom of it.
It's basically to henpeck and put you in lockstep so you don't even think as much of speaking out of line or thinking out of line.
Charlie became more agitated and ended up
Yeah,
having
good.
to
You're gonna fucking you had an outburst, and then you're going to make him for the rest of the class handicap him, kneecap him, fuck him over, and you're going to put him in solitary. Oh, that's really, really, really gonna do well for him now.
Charlie has been chilling out all afternoon.
Get out of bed, you stupid bitch. I'd be up and wrenching already at this point. He's not me.
They've been scrolling on social media.
Enough of the fucking general neutral pronouns. I hate it's a male.
They spot a video that seems to be getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Charlie watches the video and learns from the video that Muslim men are stealing the places.
They're fucking giving it hand over foot, and then they rob it as they're basically pushed into parliament by fucking liberal white women, and they destroy the country. You know what you do? It's not even just white veterans. Fucking Gurkhas are put on the streets of England. Gurkhas, the elite, right? Of the crown's elite, the Gurkhas are, for revered as they are, for as hyped up as they are, and they're thrown out. And as they work their ass off to get to where they are, and then they are put on the street homeless. In Gluck and Gub Gub here, and Gub Gub Shavar Muhammad can get all the benefits, homing, accommodation, everything. And not even like, oh, it's emergency. No, it's 5-star. Fucking home's built for them. It is an absolute invasion. It is a replacement.
In the video, they explain that the government is betraying white British people and we need to take back control of our country.
Absolutely. Yeah, find out more about the topic. Don't immediately engage. Don't go into absolute rage mode just yet. Don't be a fucking spurg.
Charlie wasn't sure if this video, but the recent other encounters made them curious. Charlie went directly to the account's website. They continued browsing and encountered lots of harm. Charlie began.
Where's my next? Okay, so I'm at neutral.
Charlie has been.
So you only give them one choice in this whole matter.
When they receive a notification from their friend.
Okay, this is rude. No. If you're at the dinner table, put your phone away. He has it on the fucking table. No, you would never, ever, in my home, you get this thing smacked off the table for doing this. No, absolutely not.
Charlie's mum makes a comment about using phones.
Yeah, exactly. This is basic table etiquette. You know how many times I go to restaurants and there are friends or people or families at the dinner table and they're just like all on their phones separately, and it's like, hey, family gathering, eat together, phone down. Is this the original game of the parody? No, it's the original. We're playing the original. I gotta see if that parody is up though. I will want to play it on stream.
Amelia, Charlie's close friend, has made a video.
There she is.
Young people in Bridlington to join a political group that seeks to defend English rights.
Yes. Britons for Britain. Britain for Britons. It's simple as.
Amelia encourages
North FC and South FC come together to unite to save England.
Charlie isn't sure whether to join, explore further, or ignore.
Yeah. Amelia's our friend. We've gone through this. We already see what's going around us. Yeah, hell yeah.
Charlie thought the video the friend posted was so funny. They couldn't believe how many likes Amelia's memes were getting. It was inspiring. She's
making Garthan edits? Hyperborean making fucking Hyperborean edits? She can actually do that, then hell yeah, I'm gonna marry her.
Charlie joined the secret group on this new platform.
Okay, but this is bullshit. Never ever do this at the table, you jackass.
And invitations to participate in.
Get out of your phone.
Charlie's mum was not so pleased and grew suspicious.
Oh, suspicious. Henpecking. Where's the father in this whole situation? This is what the British Parliament wants. No males, no strong household, no strong men in the household because they'll go against us. You have to have henpecking liberal women in your family. It's giving the equivalent of a smug guy telling you 2 + 2 = 5 and mocking you for saying it's 4. Yeah, basically. Family's divorce.
Charlie's friend Amelia immediately looked interested and told them about a protest she wished she could go to herself. but was not allowed.
If they're adults, right? They're in college. They're adults. Assuming this is an English college. Like, this is not like English, like a private school where it's where you brand as a college for high schoolers. No, if this is an actual college and they are like 18 plus, then fuck, do what they want. They're adults. But of course, it's also another thing for the statement of the government is that for the native citizens, they want to absolutely infantilize the adults, but they also want to hyper-accelerate the age growth of the children and then make this weird median in between. You see, with certain topics or subjects. You're not allowed to have firearms. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to have rights and liberty. You're not allowed to do this. But then if you're like a kid, you can fucking just cut off your dick and then become a woman, become a girl. Go nuts, right? Like this is the weird infantilization we have. We need to make voting legal for younger people. Fuck no. I'd rather the age go up for voting to 25. Actually, you can only vote if you have an IQ. I would say the IQ one is very subjective. However, if you contribute and pay to taxes in your society, then you should only be allowed to vote. If you pay taxes, then you should be able to vote. If you don't pay X amount of taxes and you receive welfare, you should not have the right to vote. I know that's very harsh and that does encapsulate people who are on disability, people who are crippled. But simply put, I would rather take that sacrifice over the dregs of society being able to vote the same thing, like to being able to vote and have the same vote as I do.
Amelia talked about the banners and the pickets that her friends had made for the events and expressed a real regret that she could not go, begging Charlie to go in her place.
Why can't we go together?
Charlie has nothing to do this weekend.
But yeah, no, if England, fucking just get out there and do something. Yeah.
It would be... They went home and made a banner to take...
That was a gay-ass banner.
Charlie arrived at...
Ausländer raus, Ausländer raus, Deutsche für Deutsche, Ausländer raus.
The police saw they were part of a group and took their details.
You're stooges. You like putting your boots on the neck of your own people? You like defending Muhammad Gubgub who's gonna stab you and then rape your daughter? Yeah, you fucking like that, you fucking cuck?
Charlie was frightened by them.
No.
Charlie thought about all the difficult choices they had needed to make in the last... Some of their choices had led to changes in French. The teacher had noticed. The teacher reassured... Charlie accepted.
There's no even option or choice for this. Fuck off. No. Fucking enough of this henpecking. This is bullshit.
It was decided that Charlie was at borderline risk of radicalization. They started taking up new skills and hobbies and made new friends.
No, none of this fucking happens. No. That's bullshit. We're gonna move on to the next one. I'm gonna see if I can find the parody. If I see if I can find the parody of it. Unless it's on a download or something, I don't know. If Charmel, if you got the link to the parody, that'd be great. But if you don't, we're gonna move on. What a crock of shit. What an absolute crock of shit. Okay, let's go on to our React stream, because I feel as if it's time to have some fun. I'm not really happy right now, seeing what we just had to bear witness to, but it is time to have some fun. I think what we're going to do next is we're going to watch, first of course, with our classic Count Dankula. And Count Dankula made a video a while back about how to escape from North Korea. And this one,
we all know how.
If you don't know about me, another little tidbit about me is that I have had a weird obsession with North Korea as well for the longest time. Not really the government, the infrastructure. It's just hearing the stories of escape, hearing the inside tales, the horrors of North Korea, but also the weird cases of North Korea being North Korea. For example, and I'll play this on stream, North Korea still owes Sweden approximately $6 million in debt with accumulating interest for a plethora of materials that Sweden sold to them during the 60s, including Volvo taxis that are still operating in North Korea as we speak. Which, oddly enough, is the second time a taxi order was stolen by a dictatorship of socialist or communist rule, and the debts were never paid off. The other one being General Motors with the Iraqi taxi in the 70s. So we're going to play Count Danka's video on how to escape North Korea. Because, quite frankly, it's one thing to go into North Korea as a tourist, it's one thing to try and get out as a citizen. I feel like that, in itself, has got to be some wild bullshit to hear.
We all know how North Korea is best Korea.
Yes,
We've
naturally.
already talked about how this great nation played host to the biggest professional wrestling event of all time.
The amount of wallpapers I have of Kim Jong-il, like Kim Jong-il lean edits and drip edits alongside Pol Pot edits, or fucking wallpaper shitposts just to have some fun. It's astounding, and I wanted to get this one Kim Jong-un drip where it was Kim Jong-un dripped out in Adidas trackwear, crouching down next to a rocket, throwing up gang signs in the propaganda art style, and I really wanted to buy that because we have a small Koreatown over here, and I feel like they would have gotten a kick out of it because they love making fun of Kim Jong-un and North Korea naturally, but I would have loved to see the reaction to that.
Surely know how they avoid the Venice problem by refusing to suffer obnoxious tourists gladly.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that my friend Callum would be eager to tell all of you about its great music. But that's not all. Much is said about how the populace of this peninsular paradise is provided for and protected by the warm...
The cleanest race, how North Koreans see themselves and why it matters. Oh no.
Nurturing embrace of its dear supreme leader. I mean, I do have two reasons to believe that they are much better fed over there than the
Heyo.
capitalist pig dogs in the West would have us believe. So clearly, the true Koreans are far better off there than in the gynocratic cyberpunk dystopia of the South. Why would anyone ever want to leave? Well, people stage daring escape attempts from North Korea all the time. They will brave snipers, barbed wire, and literal minefields to try and get the hell out of this apparent paradise.
Why would you ever want to leave? Socialism always works, guys. Communism always works. Why would you want to leave? Why would you ever want to go to the horrible capitalist society? Why would you ever want to have something like food and rights and, personal liberty and pursuit of happiness? Why would you ever want that? Oh my god, why don't you just be like us and smoke weed all day and just lay around and do jack fuck all? What do you mean I have to go dig in the mines?
Many of them don't make it. They're either killed during the escape or they are dragged off to some execution chamber to be killed for trying to escape.
And you gotta remember too is that when you try to escape, if you're caught, it's all 3 generations of your family that gets into the camps. I'm not sure how much of that code is still being held up nowadays, considering their population, their need for manpower, but it is quite horrific. And also, North Korea's main export, besides bullets, is human labor and trafficking. And unfortunately, too, part of the way to escape for a lot of people is to escape through China, and a lot of women and girls and young boys end up in the sex trafficking ring. This was spoken by multiple survivors of North Korea's regime who have escaped, and how either their mothers sold themselves to spare their daughters or kids, or others that were able to flee their captors. Or the one case I think it was, or actually they found it was a Chinese businessman that took in this one girl under the under the guise with the traffickers, and then released her. It's like, just go, like some weird form of charity. I couldn't explain. It was like an angel effect of charity. I don't know how to explain this one story. I can't remember who the name was, but there's tons of these horrific tales of escapees trying to get through China, because it's the easiest one. Even though South Korea is the most direct, it's heavily guarded, most dangerous route. China's the most easiest route to get to.
But against all the odds, one man, despite being completely riddled with bullets, managed to escape. And we have the entire thing on film.
Bitchin'.
Oh Chong Song, the escape from North Korea. Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. So you might know a thing or two about the Korean DMZ.
I'm surprised there's no advertisement for this video. That is generally a shock, considering how Danko's always got like an ad before every video.
Demilitarized zone, from back when we talked about the infamous incident with the axe in the tree. Long story short, it is a buffer zone stretching across the border between North and South Korea.
Oh, shit. The parallel. Yep. The 98th, was it the 50th parallel? Yeah. That is the, oh boy. Basically, it's essentially like a no man's land between the two borders of just barbed wire, landmines, and everything. And like 4 shrubs. Basically, it's a killing field.
Which is teeming
with... The South Koreans do try to incentivize the North Koreans soldiers to defect by just running across. You kind of like how it's still got the openness in terms of like Visage Point as the original Berlin checkpoint for the Berlin Wall, but it is still a hard run to get through. But you do see soldiers attempting to do that same famous video as that one East German soldier that made the jump over the wall and just bounded for the car.
Barbed wire, landmines, and very, very angry Asians. Therefore, most defectors from north to south take an easier route. They go through China. They abscond to some other country to get the spooks off of their trail, and then from there they head to South Korea and job done. A feat so easy that over 30,000 ungrateful traitors to the supreme leader have managed to pull it off.
No shit.
However, there is a small stretch of the DMZ called the Joint Security Area, or the JSA.
Right, I forgot. This is the one area that it basically connects the two. And this is, of course, where that famous photo from Trump's first term came out, where he shook hands with Kim Jong-un for the first meeting in I forget how many decades it was, with the North Korean leader in person. And on top of all of this, to end the Korean War officially, no longer making an armistice, but tensions are still very taut.
This part has no barbed wire or landmines, and the very, very angry Asians generally don't shoot at each other in this location, because it is the only point across the entire border where North and South meet. Not that they would have been particularly up for doing so, because the mid-2010s were a bit of a tense time for both Koreas. Kim Jong-un's Rocket Man arc.
And then Seth Rogen, haha, funny weed man, and DeFranco made that movie mocking Kim Jong-un, The Interview, which is a passable comedy. It's only legendary in terms of the outfall of the fallout of what it caused with the Sony hack, but in terms of actual like material work, it's not really the best movie, far from anything I've ever seen. But it is still humorous to say the least. But yeah, no, that movie caused massive outrage from the North Koreans, and that's why they came after Sony for it during the initial lead up to its theatrical release. The Sony hack came about, and they had to put it all on digital platforms as the only way to play it. And you know as well as I do is that because of its digital release, it was like the forebearer to the horrible landscape we have now, where physical copies are getting rarer and rarer per release, and everything's gone fully digital because of this And this movie was probably like was a good test pilot for that method.
Nukes were being tested and red buttons were being mogged. And
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just Trump.
nukes were being tested and red buttons.
I remember when Twitter used to look like this, and that was like, ugh. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the nuclear button is set on his desk at all times. Well, someone from his depleted and food-starved regime, please inform that I too have a nuclear button, but it is much bigger and more powerful than one than his, and my button works. Now, I'm not sure if there's any guys here. I wonder if someone could if someone could contact Pulp Fan for me, because I know Pulp Fan's living in the central part of the Japan mainland. But he knows as well as I do that in Hokkaido, they are very familiar with rocket warnings, as North Korea would do their tests over the North China Sea. I think no, that's not it. Hang on, let me actually do some geography. No, that sounds like a retard for a second. Hokkaido world map. Hokkaido is situated on the Japan Sea. There we go. Sorry. Hokkaido is situated on the Japan Sea, and whenever North Korea does their rocket tests, they fire them over the Japan Sea, and they get scarily close to Hokkaido. So the Hokkaidoans are very used to their nuclear alarm system going off constantly. And they go in, like, basically it's a custom way of life to a degree, but they've also stated that there is a chance that one day, once fired, and whether it's a dummy or a real rocket with a warhead hits us, we'll know about it, only when in the afterlife, essentially. Praying that doesn't happen, because that's one of the most, probably the jump start of any international incident that would absolutely wipe North Korea off the map, and then that lead to a larger conflict, and you know how that goes. But it's also, North Korea is on teetering edge with China, because China, just like with Venezuela, no longer sees them as profitable, so they want all their debts paid back in full, and they're going to get it one way or the other. And if they don't get it, then they will be more than happy just to let North Korea be ripped apart, whether by themselves to get it, or just to completely refuse them any assistance, even though it would put them at a geopolitical disadvantage and tactical disadvantage for invasion. China knows that if North Korea goes haywire, they're ready to cut ties completely with them. But right now, they're just a useful idiot.
Were being mogged. And on top of all of that, our man of the hour certainly didn't help. Hailing from Changpung County in North Hwanghae Province near Kaesong, Oh Chong-song was a 24-year-old son of a major general in the North Korean People's Army.
That's the first time I've ever seen a Korean man with actually, I'm lying. I used to work with a couple Koreans. The acne and acne scars are very common on the men. If they're not, like, the pretty boy supermodels, of course, that's just the average person, right? But the dude could use some skincare. And by the way, I say all the skincare, it's because I get my skincare products from the Korean store near me, or the Koreatown near me, and the ladies at the boutique in the store actually are more than helpful. If a guy comes in saying, hey, I want products, and I don't care if it's man or women's products, they will sell you either. Whatever works for your skin, because they love using it as a test bed for their husbands or their sons to use you as a test bed for what works and what doesn't work, based on your skin type. And their products, have cleared my acne really, really, really well. Especially since I work in, like, very gritty, dirty environments. The Korean skincare is both very affordable and also very, very good. And I got only like a four-piece daily routine, which is just a very simple, quick oil and water-based cleanser. And then I'll hit myself with a toner, and then I'll hit myself with a oil-free moisturizer. It sounds like a lot to some people, but it takes like 4 minutes. Cleans out the pores, gets everything set up. And if you want to, you can also get this grit stuff for your face, which will basically puncture whiteheads and clean out the oil with the cleansers. to help really get deep into your skin and completely flush everything out. It's very brutal on the skin, but you do it like maybe once a week and you're set to have clean skin. You're not gonna have glass skin. That glass skin's what takes tons of work, and people who do that are just like overtly vain, in my opinion. If you're just a guy who's just working, very simple routine: water and oil-based cleansers, toner, and oil-free moisturizer.
However,
And also get some with snail mucin in it too. And I know it sounds gross, but snail mucin is what helps plump up and refreshes your skin for the morning.
upper class lifestyle in North Korea didn't seem to be all that great. Because, to quote the man himself, I received 125 won per month from the army.
Oh,
People
boy.
with power made extra money from overlooking rule breaking.
Right.
In other words, it was very, very normal to just take bribes to supplement a monthly income of what converts to a whopping $1.25.
No shit.
As a staff sergeant, Chong Song worked as a driver for the general staff while conveniently stationed in the JSA in Panmunjom. On the 13th of November 2017, Chong Song had had a few drinks after having some trouble with some of his friends. The type of trouble was not specified, but there is some speculation about that we will touch on later.
I would really like to know what type of drinks they were having, because I imagine North Korean alcohol for the people, not for the supreme leader, not for the elites, where they get flown in the highest, the most expensive foods you can imagine. I wonder what the homebrew alcohol the Koreans have to drink. I cannot imagine the horrible taste it would be for the average North Korean soldier. It'd be like grog, but far worse than grog, probably.
He somehow, in his drunken state, managed to accidentally break through a checkpoint on his way home.
Uh-oh.
We've all been there, where you've hit the bucky way too hard and you accidentally cause an international incident that could have started a war between two countries.
This is Count Dakelin, and we were talking about the Scots here, Scots and Irish and English. I mean, starting international incidents on alcohol is basically most of Europe. It's liquid courage after all. The problem is with me, though, is that I can't speak on any form of, like... I mean, I'm about as, like, a teetotaler as they get. I don't even drink at all. I'm not gonna harp on you for not drinking, it's just, I don't drink. So I can't know... I can't speak on if it truly is... Like, I don't have any experiences to speak on. I only know... The only time I've ever gotten drunk is that I don't actually cause problems. Despite my size and my stature and strength and everything, I just start getting very giggly and I start cleaning up. I actively will clean up and start sweeping and recycling and cleaning up homes if I'm drunk. I get an urge to start cleaning.
Now,
I become like a butler if I start drinking. I start acting like a butler for some reason.
I'm not a North Korean. I didn't have to worry about being executed for my past scampery. But Chong Song very much did, because in his drunken state, he accidentally crashed right through a checkpoint, the punishment for which is execution. So at that point, it's in for a penny, in for a pound. So our boy just kept driving. Hurtling right through Panmunjom at very high speed, Chong Song frantically drove a military jeep right into...
So it's basically the point of just fuck a wee ball at that point.
...the DMZ, which naturally drew the attention of every single guard that he passed. Not that he cared, of course, because, and I quote, "As the situation was urgent, I was not in the right mind while driving. I was driving at a very high speed. I was escaping." And that escape wouldn't be easy, because Chong Song got the jeep stuck in a drainage ditch and he had to bail out of the vehicle.
Wait. What point... I know this is not me speaking, this is me being a non-military member, but...
Chong Song got the jeep
you're a
stuck in
squatty.
a drainage ditch.
What point do you get when you get a clean shot already by standing? Damn, you become the perfect man for some woman when you get drunk. Abso-fucking-lutely, Charlemagne. I think when I get drunk, I can't name off a good maid, good butler off the top of my head. The only one I can think of is Walter from Helsing, but I mean, in the end, he wasn't really that much of a good butler, but I mean, essentially, I start cosplaying Downton Abbey, right? I start getting into that mindset of just cleaning. Maybe I should get my character in a butler outfit sometime. Not a maid. I'm not doing the fucking maid outfit. I'm doing the fucking butler outfit. We need more butler VTubers in this world. A butler and a chauffeur. That's what I'll probably end up having the outfit being.
And he had to.
But as I was saying though, is that what point is there? You already had a clean shot on him. Why the fuck do you drop down to a prone position? What point is there to drop to a prone position when he's right in front of you?
And run for his life, just as his former comrades had caught up with him. As Chong Song sprinted over the border, around 40 rounds were fired at him by JSA soldiers, with one giving chase before quickly retreating after realizing that he had accidentally crossed the border.
Oh shit! Oh, he's done for.
Little Paz were both violations of the armistice agreement that ended the Korean War.
Yeah, quotations.
Shocking, I know. Who would have thought that shooting across a national border would have caused an international incident? But international law didn't help Chong Song very much because many of those bullets had found their mark. And he collapsed due to blood loss because he was just full of holes. And he collapsed right on the perimeter of South Korea's Freedom House, where South Korean soldiers...
You down a vodka, and you grow the outfit in a monocle out of your skin like venom. Oh no. What are you? We are classy, sir. Shall I dust up your chifforobe? Or shall I take the missus down to the shops in our Aston Martin?
Soldiers had to stealthily sneak out and rescue him, but without firing back.
If I was a chauffeur and I had my ideal car, it would be a Lotus Carlton, or probably a Carlton or a Polestar 3. I want to say something classy, sleek, but like a saloon, like a good old sports saloon with a bit of power underneath the hood.
At the true Korean.
But it's gotta be subdued.
Chong Song was airlifted straight to Seoul's Aiju University Hospital in a Black Hawk helicopter, with American medics keeping him alive as he battled against shock and low blood pressure before 6 hours of emergency surgery, followed by another 3-hour surgery. While being stabilized, Chong Song lost more than half of his blood from 5 bullet wounds.
Oh shit.
In his armpit, one in his back, one in his shoulder, one in his knee, and very unfortunately, one in his arse.
Oh god. Oh my god. Have you ever seen Blazing Saddles at all? Gene Wilder as the not the Cisco kid, but Gene Wilder's character. Tell me about the story of how he lost his pride. I heard a voice behind me. Hey, mister! Fight me! Stand off me! He turns around. 6-year-old kid. Of course, I don't have any interest in going to stand off with a kid, so I turn around. And little bastard shot me in the ass. But yeah, no. If there's anything more insulting, it hurts like the Dickens too, because that's where a lot of your nerve endings and tendons are in your gluteus maximus. But there's also the unfortunate hurt to your pride of being shot in the ass. Just saying that is just, you can say you're being shot in the butt, shot in the ass, take your pick. It's still humiliating to say. Being shot in the ass, regardless, is still a humiliating and very painful experience. I mean, getting just punctured up there is punctured into your cheek. It just hurts regardless. And of course, in England, speaking on our previous game of Pathways, in England, the roadmen, the esteemed civil engineers and of darker complexion, will try to ram knives up people's asses if they don't give them their money. This does not kill them, but getting your anus stabbed with a blade will cause you to wear basically a diaper for the rest of your life, because you will not have the ability to seal your anus from your own defecation. So an ass shot is very much a life ruination situation.
And he was compared to a...
Inversely, a woman becoming a perfect maid when being drunk would be a wife material for any man. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just a woman acting, whether it be, yeah, you want to be kinky maid or just like actual maid. I don't want to treat a woman like a slave or a maid, like a wife of like a slave or maid, but like, you know how happy I'd be to see a wife in a Victorian maid outfit coming out? Not a French maid, none of that lingerie crap, like a true Victorian maid outfit coming out. And things are cleaned up and there's a dinner and like she's just cosplaying for the fun of it. You know how much of a happy man I would be at that time and place? Like, funny enough, this misogynist weeb who, you know, who's talking as a VTuber, one of my favorite light novels, second only to Spice and Wolf, was Emma the Maid, a Victorian love story. I really, really love that light novel. It is a great series, and yes, it's Josei, but damn, it's good. You trust me, I absolutely read Emma the Maid. It's such a good series. It is such a good series. No, proper Victorian maid. Exactly, Charlotte. Now, no, none of that burlesque, you know, skimpy maid outfit crap. No, we want full Victorian maids. I want Roberta. I want my Roberta wife.
Broken jaw.
Probably a little too old for her, though.
By the lead surgeon, Dr. Lee Cook-jong, who said that, and I quote, "We couldn't put enough blood into him."
No shit. So basically, they kept trying to fill him up, and he kept just leaking.
Chong Song's blood pressure was so low that the surgeons didn't even have time to...
Damn, you that sort of woman would be a very weird side of the bar. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. Like, you know, as well as I do, like, maids get a lot more attention, but, like, I feel like butlers deserve their own attention, too, because, like, butlers are, like, well, I then guess it's the man in a submissive role doing all the work around the house, but it's like, you know, there's more than just being cleaning or, like, serving for butlers. There's obviously, you know, butlers that's thinking that they can actually have actual butlers that can cook, you know, butlers that once can do chauffeuring, mechanical work. Like, it's basically you are to look clean in the house, but you're basically do the more technical chores around the home, around the manor.
Check his blood type. So they just dumped 40 units of O-negative blood.
No shit, 40 units
into him. And for those of you that don't know, O-negative is the universal donor blood that anybody can have that the transfusion service is constantly harassing people for because of how precious it is for cases like these. For example, my mum is O-negative, so...
Exactly. They will hunt you and hound you down if you have that. And now I know people are gonna be very subjective on this because you should help the people in need. Donate blood. Donate blood. I am never being put on a donor's list. I will never be put on a donor's list. I'm never donating blood after the installation of MAID, in Leafland. And Kirsch covered this in the United States too. There are cases where hospitals will have even living patients that they proclaimed were dead, but they come back to life and are resuscitated through some means or just magic, you know, just by sheer, not even magic, like fucking, you know, just out sheer luck they come back and they're resuscitated. The hospital, if they already claim they're dead, will try to keep them dead because hospitals want to claim right to the organs. Now you may think to yourself, that's horrible. Well, why would they ever do that? That sounds like it's such a farce. No. Even though you don't think about it, if you just put yourself on a donor list, I'm doing the right thing. If I die, you know, you can have my organs. Your organs are, if they're healthy, are worth tens of thousands of dollars a pop. Right? We're talking about an infinite resource in terms of humanity that you could, in your body, one of your kidneys is worth $28,000 to $32,000 a pop if they're healthy. And the hospitals claim they have rights over you. In that case, the hospital and doctors will try to get rights over you. You don't have rights, autonomy as a person in these hospitals. So that's why I never put myself on even on a blood donor list. I will never do that. Because the sheer amount of corruption and attempted harvesting that's gone on, the more you dig into it, has made me so skeptical to even put myself on a donor list for even post-mortem. Because they will just try to kill you. And then take your organs to then sell. If they so feel like it. It's very draconian when you think about it.
She gets those letters in all the fucking time. But also, this amount of blood that Chong Song received was between triple and quadruple the total amount of blood a person has in their body.
Oh
But
my
the
god.
blood just kept pouring straight back out. By the way, if you're able, donate blood. The free tea cakes are pretty fucking banging.
Dank. You silly, silly man. No. I'm sorry. I'm not donating blood. Never. I will never allow myself to be put on a donor's list. If there was a case where I could get around it without being put on any donor's list, and then there was actually a trustworthy place that said, "Oh, we want to put you," no, don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare put me on a donor's list. Only then I'll donate blood. But you can also donate plasma too. No, I'm selling plasma. I will never donate my plasma.
But
I
even
would
after
rather
the
sell it.
surgeons were able to stop the bleeding, their efforts were further complicated when they found 10-inch parasites in Chong
Oh my god! Oh, fuck!
Song's intestines whilst repairing his GI tract. According to Chong Song's lead surgeon, Lee Cook Jong, I spent more than 20 years of experience as a surgeon, but I have not found parasites this big in the intestines of South Koreans.
Whew.
The parasites likely got there
Putain de merde! Absolutely, Charlemagne. Jesus! And those aren't tapeworms. Those are not tapeworms. Those are fucking roundworms.
because the North
You know how hard it is to get fucking roundworms in your body? And get them that size?
Koreans tend to use human shit as fertilizer.
Yep. Remember, this is your communist utopia. Any socialist or communist regime you've seen pop up has this inclination to slaughter all the farmers because they're dirty capitalist profiteers and they think they get their food from grocery stores, famously with Africa. And Zimbabwe is still trying to cut deals with the old farmers that left to try and get them back without giving them land or money. We're gonna white guilt you into coming back to us, to Africa. Pay me. In stable currency. Not Zimbabwe monopoly money. Right? Because they've had, a 15, 20-year famine? Because you get rid of all the farmers and no one knows how to fucking farm. Even though it's not hard to learn to farm, it's hard to maintain that and having mass amount of people to then re-educate yourself for a resource you need right now for farming. And, poop is poop. We can use it. There's a reason why animal shit, like cow especially, is top grade for fertilizer, because cows literally digest almost everything out of the plants and anything they're eating. But most famously, it's filled with nitrogen. Humans don't have nitrogen in their system as to the amount we need to feed the crops. That's why we use ammonium nitrate for fertilizer. Like it rapidly does the work that we needed to do. Haber-Bosch, famously, the Haber-Bosch Alliance is what created that. But using human shit just doesn't work. Oh, poop is poop. No, it does not fucking work. Trust me.
Which is not a good idea. Mark Watney only got away with it because he could be sure that the rest of his crew were nice and healthy. The worms indicated that Chong Song was malnourished, which is a nice cope for the fact that at 5'5" and 60 kilograms, he's a manlet.
Oh boy. So 5'5", like everyone in chat here. Oh, sorry. If there's any Americans that do watch the watch stream afterwards, that's 132 pounds at 5'5". Which, yeah, he's not a large guy. I mean, he's a Korean, but oh, and he's supposed to be a soldier on the front line on the border. That's not good. I got over 70 pounds on him, and that's not even including my height. Or I got over a foot on this guy.
And apparently, 22% of GDP being sank into military spending doesn't cover provisions.
Exactly.
Because raw corn was also found in Chung Song's stomach, which
Oh, fuck. And you can't digest raw corn.
corroborated reports that North Korean soldiers were ordered to steal corn from farmers.
No shit.
Corn is also a massive import from China.
Of course.
Which is much cheaper than rice.
Yeah.
Imagine being an Asian country that is so poor that you can't even afford fucking rice.
Actually, it's dawned on me in a second. I'm like, wait a minute, it's fucking Korea. You can't afford rice and you're an Asian nation? Oh, boy.
But wait, it gets worse. Chung Song was also treated for tuberculosis, hepatitis B, and pneumonia.
What?
And he may or may not have also been exposed to anthrax.
What the fuck? Anthrax. And something tells me that this was a government op that they did on him to see if it worked.
It was reported that one of the 4 defectors from North Korea in 2017 had anthrax antibodies, either from a vaccine or exposure. But this was denied on both sides of the DMZ. Chung Song spent the next few days...
Well, North Korea obviously would deny anything of the sort, but South Korea probably did it to keep calm, because if you tell South Koreans who are partially expected to try and bring in help North Korean defectors, what happens with that is that then they start finding out that there's a chance that they might have anthrax. Everyone's going to flip their lid and try to shoo them away, which is what you're trying to do against in terms of unification of Korea.
He's unconscious and on a ventilator as he recovered.
No.
All in all, his survival was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Dr. Lee actually showed a real liking for this absolute trooper, saying, and I quote, "I'm very proud of him. He fled from North Korea seeking for liberty much more."
What's next? AIDS! Wow, Rich, you held onto the AIDS longer than Magic Johnson. And also, I know it's not Magic Johnson, but in terms of just basketball and North Korea, when are we saying Rodney back over to North Korea to try and talk with Kimmy Boy in terms of, peace negotiations?
It's quite easy to say, but it's really, really difficult to make it happen. So, I admire him. So this guy managed to tank being riddled with bullets, various deadly diseases, 10-inch parasites, and even fucking anthrax exposure. But it wasn't a physical recovery that Chung Song had to deal with. As you would expect, Chung Song had a little bit of a restless sleep because during this entire thing and all of the surgeries, Chung Song was completely unconscious. So he had no idea that he had been rescued and was actually in South Korea. He thought that he'd been captured by the North Koreans and was about to be carted off to a concentration camp or dumped in front of a firing squad.
Oh, so he was probably thrashing when he woke up. Oh no, that would be horrible.
But Dr. Lee was very quick to put Chung Song at ease right as he regained consciousness.
Oh, fuck off.
Hey, you.
Damn it, Town
Finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right?
Lee put up a South Korean flag in Chung Song's room, anticipating the obvious questions when he woke up. As Lee recalled, he actually asked me is it really South Korea? And I said, have a look at that flag. Have you seen that flag in North Korea? As Chong Song settled into his new country, he was described as quiet and pleasant, and he was kept entertained throughout his recovery. The first movie that he saw was Transporter 3.
The fuck is Transporter 3? Hang on, let me look this up. The hell is Transporter? I mean, it's probably the hospital I had on hand, because I remember being in hospital, and when they would cart in the little TV there for you, you had your like very limited choice of what they had to offer. So there was like Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill, Spider-Man, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1. Obviously, I knew I was gonna pick fucking Sam Raimi, of course. Based on, produced, starring... Oh god. It's a Jason Statham movie. So his first movie he watched, probably because it was the only thing the hospital had on hand at the time that was available, was a Jason Statham movie, a third in the franchise, where it's just Jason Statham playing the same Jason Statham character. Jason Statham's played the same character his whole career, only difference being is his character in Snatch, where Statham in Snatch was just such a goofball, like a bumbling idiot goofball, not really bumbling idiot, but like out of his depth, fish out of water in the crime syndicate world, and he's just bumbling around trying to get Brad Pitt to fight, to win a fight for him, or to stage up, or to fix a fight for him. If you haven't watched Snatch, go watch Snatch. It's such a good movie. It's probably one of Guy Ritchie's best movies, and it's actually one that you can actually sit through. But famously, and unfortunately, I used to really like Antfish, is JoJo's dubs, but the JoJo's abridged series, but his one for the epilogue was a Jason Statham movie. It was a Guy Ritchie film, and it was, what the fuck are they even talking about? I have no idea, as Tim Curry Dio would say. It would be like, and JoJo's rebuttal to that was, and I thought the British could speak English. Well, bloody hell.
And he also enjoyed videos of a K-pop group named Girls' Generation.
Okay, I'm gonna look this one up too. Girls' Generation K-pop group. Okay. It seems like, hang on. Girls' Generation K-pop group. Oh, okay. I mean, sure. Like every other K-pop group I've seen in the world, but... Definitely not like anything I would, write home about. It seems like every K-pop group has been trying to like keep the 2000s late 90s girl band, like girl group, like Destiny's Child type thing alive. I know a lot of the J-pop and K-pop predate Destiny's Child, but like they've really stuck with that trend. I've listened to their songs, so I want to know, but yeah, it doesn't really pertain to me at all. But hey, it's what he likes, so.
He also watched Transformers, CSI, and Bruce Almighty.
Attaboy! CSI? Fucking Transformers. I was gonna say the Chinese love Transformers, but it's Korean. But technically, how many illegal media, and when I say like illegal to North Koreans, pirated movies they got from the West, Transformers would no doubt be a massive freaking hit to them too. Kind of like a Journey to the West type story, if you will, for how the first Transformers was. I wonder what the role of the line "Are you Ladies Man 217" sounds like in Korean. I wonder what that sounds like, or in Chinese. I cannot see the video, but I can hear it. Hang on, Charlemagne. I'm sorry. I'm retarded. But yeah, no, I wonder what Transformers sounds like in Korean, because that would be I would totally watch that. I would totally watch just to get a different perspective. I know the Japanese dub for Transformers, like the Michael Bay ones, are pretty interesting to say the least, but like I'm wondering what it sounds like in Korean.
He also said,
And Bruce Almighty in Jim Carrey in Korean would be weird, unless it was subtitled.
that North Koreans have a surprising amount of access to American and South Korean TV.
Yeah, no, that would shock people because they still use satellite receivers. Like they're both, when it comes to their military tech, they're not even advanced, but like they're fucking enough to do cyber hacks. Like majority of the income to North Korea is through cyber attacks. But they're very antiquated when it comes to their tech, of course. Naturally, you'd understand this, but they still use satellite receivers for a lot of their broadcasts. So they're able to pick up on a lot of South Korean TVs, which South Korea also broadcasts a lot of, having very close ties to the United States, broadcasts a lot of American media, dubbed over, of course.
Which I assume might be why he was able to just skip straight to the third Transporter movie. Once Chong Song was able to eat solid
Hey, social battery, how are you?
food, his first request was a choco pie.
Now, this is something I do know. Okay. So, in North Korea, choco pies they're basically wagon wheels. And wagon wheels is, of course, as you can see here, it's two wafers covered in chocolate with a marshmallow filling in the middle. It's a middling, like, or to the Americans in the audience, it's like moon pie. It's like Hostess's moon pie. But what you need to know is that North Korea, when this started to come over the border from China, these were, which you'd have in like a little kid's lunch or Lunchable. Like these things would be like $1 or less. Were hot ticket luxury items to the average North Korean person. Naturally, anything that is like a confectionery would be a hot ticket item, but this especially was very much a hot ticket item because it is such a foreign, westernized concept that it became a luxury item to them. And I do mean a luxury market where a whole black market ring was built around choco pies for importing, and for redistribution and sale. It was basically like their own version of like the crack epidemic, but with choco pies. And it was. And South Korea famously will have balloon launches where they'll send balloons downwind to North Korea, filled with bags of choco pies, as a way to attempt to sway more people to defect to South Korea, with the lust for the tasty treat. And also as a goodwill charity for those who were able to find out in the fields.
Apparently, it's like a wagon wheel, but I doubt they're as good. They never officially existed in North Korea, but they trickled over the border from Gaesong Industrial Complex, where North Korean labour was once used to manufacture goods for South Korean companies. A grey market soon developed as the choco pies were immediately sold.
I forgot that sometimes South Korea had some questionable factories that would use North Korean basically slave labor. China is most notable to do this, and Saudi Arabia and Russia especially are known to do this. But that's how they're able to get their hands on certain products
Markup
and make massive markup in the black market.
by workers who got them as a treat. Then they got far too popular and were banned in 2014 for signalling South Korean decadence. And they were replaced with red-packaged, patriotic, and true Korean chocolate danciolge.
Ugh, look at that. It looks so depressing.
Which no one wanted to eat because they tasted like shit.
Exactly.
The petty fuckers in the south then flew real choco pies over the border with balloons. As a nice gesture, Orion Confectionery, the manufacturer of choco pies, sent 100 boxes of the treats to the hospital for Chong Song and everybody else working there. And there were also reports of an offer of a
Ew, Charlemagne, come on. I know they don't taste that good, but like, if you're talking about the North Korean one, then yeah, it looks like shit.
lifetime supply of choco pies for Chong Song himself.
That is so funny. That also reminds me, there's two cases of this, because there's also two anti-communist stories that I remember. In the I believe it was the MiG-17, the Mogovian-Godovik MiG-17 jet fighter. When North Korea first got their hands on it, the United States was trying to analyze it. And it was either the MiG-17 or MiG-19. And they made an offer to any communist pilot that would first fly over the aircraft. They would give them essentially $100,000 and a permanent residence in the United States. Well, one man who was a Westaboo from North Korea who lived there underneath Imperial Japan's rule didn't even know about this offer. He was planning for years, if not over a decade, working his way through the ranks in the North Korean Air Force to defect. So he flew his aircraft over, and when he landed in a U.S. air base, he was worried about being shot at, so he dumped it on the grass, still fully intact, and the only word in English he could speak and scream and wave his hands in the air was automobile, automobile, automobile. That's all he could speak in English. He didn't even know they were making that offer. So he basically got a whole free ride and $100,000 to the United States. And this is 1955 in terms of the money. In terms of 1956, 57, in terms of US dollars, $100,000. Made it like a freaking bandit. But there's also another story. And this is from the Vietnam War. And so when the Mogovian-Godovik MiG-21, the fish bed came into play. And the U.S. had a generally good grasping understanding of the MiG-21 jet fighter. But they still wanted one just for their collection, to study and understand. Especially the newer variants. So they made an offer and dropped pamphlets on top of their bombing raids during Operation Linebacker. They dropped pamphlets over Vietnamese airfields or near them that said the first it's like any MiG-21 defectors will be meted with amnesty, $50,000. So the offer, of course, was greatly dropped down, and a free steak dinner upon landing. After 17 MiGs came flying over to defect, they started to have to shoot them down and to turn them away from the United States airfields to say, we have enough, get the fuck out. We're not... I'm talking full porterhouse steak dinner if you defected, and $50,000, and not U.S. amnesty, maybe U.S. amnesty post-war, but like basically early war, hey, you have a steak dinner and $50,000 in your back pocket, United States dollars. 17 tried to fly. I think it was like they got like 17 of them before they started trying to shoot them down. It's like, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough, get the fuck out. Honestly, if I was I was a starving communist, I heard there's a free porterhouse steak dinner and there's gonna be Merlot there. Oh hell yeah, I'm flying over.
But it wasn't just confectionery companies that had an interest in Chong Song.
No kidding.
Naturally, he was interrogated.
We have enough. Please leave. That's enough fish beds for one day.
By the authorities, but there wasn't really much that they could get out of him.
Of course.
Having been diagnosed with PTSD, Chong Song's psychiatric treatment took precedence over any tough questions.
I'm actually glad they actually stepped in before the glowies or the spooks could get their hands on him fully, because ask any North Korean defector, because like a majority of defectors are gonna be soldiers because they're the closest to the DMZ zones. There's not really much information they can give out, because like the actual ones that are working on the nuclear programs and on like higher up, when they defect, they will squeal like pigs. The rest of the guys, they don't even know what's going on because they're very much kept in the dark about a lot of things.
Because Dr. Lee was very protective of Chong Song's mental state and very adamant about leaving him alone and letting him heal.
Exactly.
Chong Song couldn't actually even remember his defection anyway. Because it was a traumatic experience and brains just kind of block that shit out sometimes. And also remember...
Imagine the entire army surrender for a stake in U.S. citizenship. Do you know how many German soldiers towards the end of the Second World War, into the march into the fatherland, just outright threw their shit away? It's like, dude, we've had enough, right? Even your rations are like luxury items to us. The Soviets that basically just bolted when they were like, the US are over there. Okay, I'm running. That to try to defect the Americans. Yeah. I mean, quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So, I'm just saying, just do that. And on top of that too, I guess more and more recent, more topical, more recent events with socials and shit like that. Remember when Maduro? I think it was like 6 years ago, in 2020 or 2019, and it's when that annoying fruitcake, Salt Bay, was a meme. And Salt Bay is that mystery meat wannabe, suave Latino that was living in Florida, has that overpriced, one of those many overpriced like steakhouses where they'll bring out tomahawk steaks in the gold boxes and do the smoke show, and if you pay him $10,000, he'll come over and do that signature salt sprinkle where he acts all very zesty and does weird patting with the steak, and he acts hyper flamboyant. You know that little fruitcake. Maduro, when his country was at the peak of its famine in 2019, went to the United States and had a dinner catered to him. Actually, he didn't even go to the United States. I think he was still in Venezuela, but at the palace, had Salt Bay flown out to him to cater to him and his lackeys a recorded dinner of luxury steak and wine while his people starved. And you wonder why the fucking Venezuelans were just are still having fucking weeks-long celebrations and parades. Yeah, here, let me pull this up too. I know I'm on the Dankula train right now, but let's pull this up. Here, let's pull up, because this pansy ass motherfucker. I hated Salt Bay the moment I saw that face. It's just like any photo. Every time you see these chefs, they're like the hipster chefs that want to act special. But yeah, Salt Bay Maduro. Here, this motherfucker. So, you ready to see the most disgusting shit possible? Venezuelan president feasts at Salt Bay's restaurant while country goes hungry. Oh, and no, sorry, it wasn't the United States. He was eating in Istanbul. He was eating in Turkey. He was eating in fucking Turkey. And watch this fruitcake. I'm holding back words so I don't get fucking reamed out on Twitch right now, but this, because I've already let it loose once. This fucking fruitcake. Look at this shit, Charlemagne. Wait for it. It's that motherfucker right there. Thrusting as he cuts the steak. And watch, he's gonna do his signature salt. Oh, I got the t-shirt. See, remember this fucking... Ugh. Look at this. The audacity. Look at this shit. And he's still eating good under the United States in prison, in the New York jail. He's still eating good. Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, back to Dankula. I gotta stop. I'm getting off topic with steak. I get very hungry.
Remember, he was drunk.
Yeah.
But that said, he allegedly confessed to having, and I quote, committed crimes in North Korea that led to the killing of people. The government was...
Oh shit. Oh no.
Very tight-lipped about whether or not that was true, but Chong Song outright denied it, saying, and I quote, I did not commit murder. I got into trouble outside my workplace and drank with a friend and ran through the checkpoint. I crossed over the border because I was afraid.
So they thought he was implicated in a crime that would get people killed, multi-generational or including firing squads, but no, his crime being straight-laced for the longest time, well, supposedly straight-laced. Of course, consuming Western media would be illegal in North Korea, but what the fuck is that gonna do? Well, besides actually getting killed for it, but everyone's doing it. As I was saying, though, is that his crime was that he drove a vehicle drunk past a checkpoint. He was gonna get killed, and for a penny and for a pound.
Of getting executed if I returned. I don't regret defecting. Once Chong Song passed the vibe check, his 65 million won or $60,800 medical bill was customarily paid for by the people of South Korea in a rare good use of taxes. He then spent 6 months in a settlement support centre for further debriefing by South Korean intelligence and a little round of re-education. Because bear in mind, North Koreans are completely lied about to the outside world. He was then given South Korean citizenship.
Did you ever see that one North Korean cartoon series they still have like reruns running? It's the one with the it's the little furry kimono creatures, the squirrel and hedgehog. It's basically like furry propaganda. And I mean literally for the latter seasons, because they got shit animated in Japan. I think the animators for that were the second series of Squirrel and Hedgehog were the same ones that did Transformers Beast Wars, and it's infamously where that fox lady comes from. Like literally, they have a sultry vixen fox woman for a propaganda cartoon. So furry propaganda. I'm not kidding you.
Taught how to live in the South,
and the vixen is to represent the United States with the wolves. It is so weird.
And then released into the wild. Despite quips about his jarhead haircut from Dr. Lee, Chong Song had no interest whatsoever in continuing his military career for the South. Not that he even could anyway, because he still suffers from permanent digestive and mobility issues, as well as nerve damage from a bullet, almost costing him his left arm.
Oh, shit.
Despite his disability, Chong Song made it out in one piece.
Good.
So the JSA soldiers who rescued him, 3 South Koreans and 3 Yanks, were awarded with the Army Commendation Medal.
Good for them.
Meanwhile, the North Koreans made no comment on Chong Song's defection at all. Always insisting that defectors don't defect, but are actually kidnapped by the South or are tricked into defecting.
Right.
All, true Korea is a paradise generously provided for by Supreme Leader. So why would anyone want to leave? So, to put a wrench in the efforts of these kidnappers, the North Koreans fortified Chong Song's escape route to prevent it from happening again. They also installed a gate along the road to Panmunjom, and they closed other gates that were usually left open for some reason. They also added wheel spikes to those gates. Finally, they dug a trench and they planted trees where Chong Song had crossed the border.
So to make it all that little bit harder.
And considering that one soldier's oopsie, the trench could also help mark the actual border a little bit better. Also, the 35 to 40 guards who were at the border that day who failed to capture Chong Song were all replaced.
Oh no. Oh fuck. They're probably dead.
One can only guess where they ended up. But I doubt it would have been a proportional punishment that they deserved. Chong Song certainly had no hard feelings for the soldiers who shot him when he said if they didn't shoot, they would face heavy punishment. So
basically, we have to. Not like we want to, but we have to.
If I was them, I would have done the same. But it seems like they would have done so out of self-preservation rather than any kind of loyalty to the Kim regime. Because Chong Song believed that, like himself, almost everyone in North Korea is indifferent to the dear Supreme Leader.
This is what I've been saying about Leafland up here too, where, yes, there's a very vocal, typically the boomers and older crowd, but there's typically like a vocal arrogance that like Canadians will have, but you ask a lot of the average Canadian-born men, tons of us want to succeed and be moved to the States. These aren't the Indians saying it. These aren't the fucking recent ones. These are the Canadian-born, born and raised. We want the United States Second Amendment. A lot of us think like this. Hot take, but it's simply more so with younger men, and it's like, well, you're just like so propagandized with the United States. You're so designed of just that American culture. There is no fucking Canadian culture anymore. We are so burnt out, disheartened. Economically, we're trying to look out for ourselves. It's just fucking better to do it that way. So when you get on the ground with people, you'd be surprised to hear what comes out from a lot of mouths if they know that they're in secure hands of like, hey, you and I are on the same wavelength here, aren't we? We're close enough to the same wavelength.
As Chong Song put it, probably 80% of my generation is indifferent and has no loyalty.
Yeah.
It's natural to have no interest or loyalty since the hereditary system is taken as a given, regardless of its inability to feed people.
Exactly.
But even so, these half-starved soldiers got no tangible benefits from their positions. So the fact that the crab mentality and fear of the elite class prevented them from simply walking over the border with Chong Song says a lot about the top-down nature of almost all meaningful action.
It's crabs in a bucket. You see it with also the hood mentality too. It is always crabs in a bucket. You can never succeed. You can never escape. How dare you escape? You should suffer with the rest of us. You took the gumption, will, and pushed forth to change your weather, change your future. Fuck you. I'm gonna kill you for it.
Also, testament to the sheer courage and indomitable spirit that Chong Song must have possessed to not only go balls to the wall in a mad bid for freedom, but to also survive doing it.
Was it? Or was it his blood alcohol level?
Even if some of that courage was Dutch courage.
Yeah.
So, where is this absolute legend now? Well, having cast off the yoke of Juki and embracing the liberty of the first world, how has Chong Song made the most of his new life?
Yeah, how is he?
Well, in the year 2020, he was arrested for drink driving.
God's truly most oppressed people. Hell yeah!
At least he didn't accidentally cross the border again.
Oh, check out Count Angela's video on this. That was fucking phenomenal. It'll be linked in the description. Jesus, that is. Oh man, that's courage. Conquer the whole world with it. All right, on to our next one. Let's see what else we can pull up quickly from either Dankula or we can move on from Dankula. Oh no. Alright, I'm gonna take a look around. Hang on. Any recommendations we can probably do next? The drunk spirit is still in, yeah. What should we watch next? Oh, yeah, actually, I was gonna show you this. Speaking of North Korea owes Sweden $6 million and accumulating interest too because of Volvos. Yeah, bet you didn't know that. I'm gonna watch her video. I'm gonna see if there's any other video on this. No. I might as well just cover this on stream right now. So, funnily enough, in history, there's been 2 record cases of cars that were stolen by dictatorships, and money is still owed to the manufacturers and nations of said said car makers. Two cases. First case recorded was North Korea, because North Korea in the late 60s, early 70s grew a diplomatic bond with Sweden, because remember, Sweden has always been a neutral country. Well, not always be neutral, but basically they trade with the highest bidder. They will manufacture for whomever is paying. They did this with Germany in the Second World War. They also manufactured for English in the Second World War too. Basically, they were selling to both sides. And during the Cold War, Sweden famously was neutral. Being able to have, for example, ABBA perform in both Poland and in England on the same tour, because they were able to play into the cards of diplomatically allowing their people to basically traverse amongst these nations, playing both sides as a weird National Socialist, formerly National Socialist government. Sweden thought and somehow saw North Korea during the 70s, because during the early 70s, post-Korean War, North Korea, for the shortest time, because of the sheer backing of the USSR and China later on, North Korea was initially more prosperous than South Korea, which was always a poorer region, even underneath Imperial Japan's rule of Korea during that time. South Korea was far more devastated and didn't have as much infrastructure as compared to the North. So the North initially got a good start ahead, and Sweden thought, well, if we can trade with the North, we'd have a lucrative in-market to buy and sell products and goods, and typically heavy machinery and automobiles to this developing nation. Famously, Volvo sold them 1,000, was it 1,200 or just 1,000 Volvo 144s. Base models, of course. Volvo sold them these cars as a way for North Korea to have transport for staff cars and for taxis for Pyongyang. Well, North Korea never paid that debt they owed them. And I'm going to show you right now from this article by the parallels on NPR, by Danny Hajek, how 1,000 Volvos end up in North Korea and made a diplomatic difference. Now, granted, I am reading this article, but I know about the full story of it. Get the fuck out of here. So, Volvo sold these 144s, and the 144 was the initial square Volvo. Was like the first of the compact square Volvos that would lead the generation of how we know Volvo is today, or how Volvo's image was made through the more modular square design body cars. The 144 is actually a really good platform. It's a great handling, especially the coupes, the coupe. It's a great handling short wheelbase platform. Famously, it has the red block motor in it, which is the unkillable motor that made Volvo's reputation for reliability so known across the world. I think it was the B18 2FT motor. 2F motor. It's not T, because the T would be turbocharged. B18 2F and B20. These motors are a iron block design, and Swedish metallurgy, of course, is second to none in the world. And they were heavily understressed. They could handle hundreds more horsepower than they're built for, but they kept them at like 100, 110 horsepower, and turbocharged models got like 124, 140 maximum. Like, they were understressed to the ninth. But Volvo decided that they would be part of this operation with Sweden. Sweden kind of roping the company in to sell and helping to bolster trade amongst Sweden and North Korea. But what happened is that North Korea refused to pay the debt and completely closed all tabs on it on their end. Sweden still has a debt held out to them to this day for the heavy machinery and infrastructure equipment and the Volvos that they sold to North Korea. And there's still a tab open to this day, but of course it's never going to be paid. About 70 million worth of products. And they were, I believe, one of the last countries to have a diplomatic embassy in North Korea before they inevitably left in 2001, as is shown here. And to this day, these Volvos and these pictures, this is from 2013. You can see the age is beginning to show, but the car is still trundling along. These Volvos are still running today as taxis in North Korea. They're slowly being replaced by Chinese cars, but these are still running as the taxis of North Korea to this day. Slowly whittling and being cannibalized down and being replaced with Chinese parts, but they are still running. It is a strange occurrence of these cars still being about, because North Korea in its own is like this frozen in time landscape that's just never moves, never really seems to move in motion. It's like, once again, it's the Hermit Kingdom, but the idea of 1,000 cars of these old Volvos, I mean, once again, being a Volvo enthusiast myself, these 144s are really, really, like, the 140 series is just a platform, like, you have to see it to believe it. The 142 was famously, where I get my parts from is IPD USA, and it was their first race car that they put out as, back in the 70s, as their first sponsored race car to promote their company. And the owner built and tuned up the car to about, I believe, is 250 brake horsepower, naturally aspirated. But these things are very reliable and very fun to drive compact platforms. And just seeing these here is just, it's a weird fracture in time that these exist, like in North Korea. And I know I'm just kind of prattling on, but like the whole story itself is just bizarre. It's all a lot of more diplomatic, like, trade and diplomatic, like, lost translation, lost their paperwork of how things went about. Basically, North Korea just, put in simply, just played a bluff of like, oh, we will pay you. We're not paying you. Once they got what they wanted. And then they refuse to pay outright. That's still their tab is still accumulating interest, and they're still have that tab open for them, and the debt, they're not going to pay it. They're never going to. North Korea, they're in their own little world. It's basically like Kimmy's little island resort, or little nation resort to himself, and everyone else is a slave to him. It's his little plantation. But the second thing is that, surprisingly, this was actually the first time a automotive manufacturer got fleeced by a socialist dictatorship. However, it wouldn't be the last time, because in the early 80s, and this is something I have personal experience with, Saddam Hussein requested a fleet of taxis for his Iraq, as he was a techno-socialist. And he wanted a rapid development of Iraq, and to meet the new road infrastructure that he was trying to build, he wanted more modern cars, a bit more luxury. Strangely enough, to the Middle East, not all the time, but in parts of the Middle East, typically around around Persia, the Persian Gulf, General Motors cars are seen as luxury items. American cars in general are seen as luxury items. And Iraq, before the Ayatollah War of 1984, or before 1981, requested a bill of sale for General Motors to sell them a fleet of taxis. And they requested, in particular, one car. What they could afford, but that was also luxurious enough for themselves. And these were the 1980 year Chevy Malibu. And these Chevy Malibus were to be painted in rustic gold or rustic brown gold. And these Malibus were custom fitted for operation in Iraq. Even at this time, while the United States didn't have the best relationship, of course, naturally didn't have the best relationship with Iraq, but even at this time, it was really like about to go to war with the Ayatollah. They were in Iran, they were pissed off. So, but General Motors really wanted this deal. And we'll get to who took the deal in a sec, but the taxis were to be specifically designed for Iraq. They would be as simplistic as possible, but with some few altercations for luxury that would tell them apart from every other Malibu on the road. These Malibus were, I'm going to just pull this up here. These 1981 Malibus were very simple. They were the four-door sedan version. I'm going to be reusing Haggerty as my go-to source for this one briefly, but they were to be the sedan version because they were to be powered by the 3.8 liter V6, and most infamously would have a 3-speed manual transmission made by Saginaw for the car. The bench seats were made of cloth. Once again, this was like poverty spec Malibu, but with heavy-duty sports suspension for rally or for heavy road use, an AM/FM radio for infotainment for the taxi driver and for the passengers, and strangely enough, two things that would make it illegal to sell within the States and Canada. Rear defrost elite, because over here we have, winter, so frost and fogging of windows causes poor visibility, so we have to have the heat vents that run up to the windows to defrost them. These vents were deleted from the car in favor of a standard, and this was considered at the time a luxury trim item. I remember back when this was a luxury trim item to be optioned for vehicles. AC. Because, of course, in Iraq, it's stinking hot. They don't want to have 65 air. They're a developed nation in their mind. So they should have air conditioning. And also, to duly note, 3-piece center hubcaps. Now, how do I know this without even reading the article here? Well, your boy Sirius Kovac had the pleasure of working on a Iraqi taxi. And my boss, who at the shop I was at, came out, well, actually our secretary, she used to work on them back in the day. And she came out jumping in joy because she asked me, does it have an inline six? I'm like, yes. Does it have this? She's like, that's the Iraqi taxi. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? These Malibus were meant to be sent off to Iraq. And what happened was, since the United States in themselves would not export to Iraq, it was, of course, with embargoes placed on and trade bans placed on Iraq, General Motors circumvented this by using Canada and the Oshawa manufacturing plant to build the fleet of 25,000 Iraqi taxis, shipped them to Halifax, and start shipping the order out to Iraq. But what happened was, in 1981, is that half the order made it to Iraq, and then Saddam cut the order and refused to give payment. That meant that 12,500 Iraqi taxis were left in Halifax Harbor. Now, what would a company like General Motors do? Take the hit and scrap them all. Well, that's what modern General Motors would do. Instead, back when, they sold and distributed the Iraqi taxis amongst the dealer networks and sold them at a bargain bin discount. And they advertised it. Now, what you need to know about these Malibus is that it runs on the General Motors W body. And the W body is what basically any rear-wheel drive cars General Motors has had since the early 50s up until the late 90s ran on. Trans Am, Firebirds, Camaros, Skylarks, Cutlasses, everything. They ran on the same platform and frame. Meaning that you could swap in any engine. Of course, even these were carbureted too, so there was no electronic fuel injection. These engines were stupidly simple just to swap in with something else. So people would swap in these sleeper shitbox Malibus, big block Chevy motors and Ford motors, and just drag race the shit out. They make them sleepers. Almost every Malibu got molested to a degree, to the point they were no longer the Iraqi taxi because they were dirt cheap, except for the survivors, for the people who owned them. As I was saying, though, I got to work on one of these things. I got to disassemble tires and do a full oil change and fluid service on one of these things. And I got to drive it. And I drove this thing. And this thing is, you get up to first gear, you have to go to about 20 miles per hour before shifting to second gear. The gearing is so damn long in these taxis. And it's 3 on the floor. It's 3 on the floor with 1 reverse gear. And the reverse gear loves to pop out on you, because the Saginaw unfortunately had this problem with the reverse shift detent, is that when you try to shift it into reverse, it would actually pop out on you constantly. And it was something they actually had to send over technicians to Iraq, from Canada to Iraq in the late 80s, to try and remedy, because this was a recall from Saginaw themselves on the transmission, because they started realizing there was problems with these transmissions. So they have second gear and reverse lockout and pop out during operation. So I had one that had not even got the warranty service done to it. And this thing was such, I don't know how to describe it, right? You know, it smells like, it was post-carbureted era, so it was post-fuel emission crisis, so it didn't stink of emissions. But when you drive these things, they're slow, they're sluggish, they are horribly slow. But it feels like you're floating on a couch as you're driving. Just this, you don't even feel the ground. The suspension is so just like, it feels like you're in a boat on a gentle wake, like on a small lake, and there's a small wake of the waves coming in, and it's this very flowing rocking motion you get, and it just lumbers and steers. Like, have you ever seen old like cop movies and police chases where the cop cars just like roll right over to the right, the old Crown Vics? And I'm not talking about the Panther bodies, I'm talking about the really old Crown Vics. That's what this thing felt like driving. It was like a boat, even though it was a mid-size sedan. And like, I felt like the shit. I don't care if no one would have cared about it. It was like some old Malays era car. I felt like I was king of the world driving this thing. That was my white boy summer. That was my Operation White Boy Summer, driving Saddam's taxi. But famously, about the story about the Iraqi taxi, it was often forgotten about, is that in memoirs of people who visit Iraq, or embassy members of in Iraq, the Iraqi taxis were actually not even used as taxis at all. They were given out as awards to officers during the Ayatollah War, or as ceremonial posthumous awards to families of those lost in the war. And the word Malibu in Arabic, and the certain dialect of Arabic that is spoken in Iraq, can often be mistaken for the word mabibu, which is to mourn, and is also an onomatopoeia, or there's also another word, I forget what it is, but it's an onomatopoeia for a woman that's wailing from loss. So these were considered the widow's car in Iraq. If you actually watch old footage of the 2003 Iraq invasion, you can still see some of these taxis still rolling around. Because remember, it's a dry climate, and these are, well, it is an American car. General Motors has Saudi Arabia operations that basically get them parts to Iraq. Like, Saudi Arabia was even dealing and selling these parts to Iraq to keep these things operational. Like, it's money being traded. It's just good business, right? At day's end. But these shitbox taxis, 25,000 were there, so 12,500 made over to Iraq. 12,500 remained over in Canada. And it's a Canadian-only thing. And going through, like, there's tons, it's become more and more of a popular thing, or it's become more of a known thing to the United States, to the Americans. As we're starting to get some weird nostalgia for the old, Bush era administration, like in a weird contrived way. These cars are starting to pop up as interesting, as like, you know, as like collector's items and like as like memorabilia. Looking right here, you can see these things were sold in conversion to today's dollars, $16,600 USD or $22,300 Canadian for a brand new car with AC. And once again, mind you, air conditioning was a luxury item, so you got these things for dirt fucking cheap back then. And I couldn't describe to you, like, yeah, the plastic and vinyl were cheap on the inside, but like this is cloth and like shag carpet interior with this golden brown color. I think this is actually the tag. No, this is not the. Holy fuck, is it? That actually might be the one I drove. That actually might, or it's the same color as the one I drove. No, it's not the same one, but it looks to be the same one I drove, like exactly like this, same color, same everything. This thing is such a weird shitbox, but people don't realize that that these things exist and they're so weird. I want to make a video on this, but like I didn't think I would ever be enough. So I feel like this stream clip will be enough to cover everything I want to say. But like I'm gonna post like links in the description for like further reading. But and by the way, these things are G bodies, by the way. But either way, W body, G body, they still swallow the same engine in their engine bay. But like you guys, like honest to God, dude, it is so weird. Like it's something that I feel like people should like look into. These things were so strange. And I find it funny now because like I'm thinking to myself because I'm a fan of Hina Bobina, the VTuber, and she opened Desert Storm trading cards on stream, but then your boy over here got to drive an official Iraqi taxi. So VTubers' ties to Iraq and Saddam Hussein are pretty strange if you think about it. But yeah, no. This here, let me pull this up again. This here is just a nut, like this guy's modified it and swapped the engine in this one. Like it's no longer the original. Like I don't think this one is the original Iraqi taxi in Line 6. He's put in a new big block with Edelbrock equipment on it, but like I don't know how else to describe it. It is such a strange like thing, and like you ask anyone of like that was born like Gen X or boomers or even early millennials, they can remember this. And ever since I drove that, I only drove it once, very shortly. I want to own one of these things so badly. I want to drive it because like in just that moment, you feel like you're teleported back to the 80s, like in your own time place. Like you're just in your own era. None of this like faux nostalgia, like it's flashing neon lights. No, this is like backwoods 80s. Like this is just some real interesting shit. Anyway. Moving on from me prattling about cars, let's get back into doing some more videos. I think we should move on to maybe not another Dankula. I'm gonna slow down Dankula's consumption for a little bit right now. Trying to find what would be a good idea to watch. Me. Let's go here. That's not that. Oh, jeez, I'm trying to think of something that's good to start off with. You have any recommendations, Charlemel, for stream chat? Because I'm kind of running out of ideas here. What would be a good idea? Yeah, I don't think I can think of anything. I think I'm actually gonna call it a night. Thanks for showing up, by the way. I'm gonna raid into some other streams, but if you're still here, no, you guys have a good night. Okay. See ya.